Oh hi, didn't see you there. Welcome to stream. Don't mind me. I'm just trying to get a score. A high score. Today we are going to take on one of the last parts of Rosemary's Floriograph. It might be the last part. I didn't actually check. And we'll get to that very soon. If this dragon lets himself get killed in a timely manner. Very soon. Because another new addition, I guess, in this update was an upgrade to the Abyss mode of the game. Like the multiplayer challenge mode, where you try to score higher than everyone else. I don't think that was a better time than my last. And they made it a lot harder, especially for people that are at the maximum level like I am. Let's see how I scored it. No. I kinda want to get above this man of culture because it makes a huge point difference, while our score difference is so small. So very small. But how much time do I have left on this? Do I have to do this now, or should I just give up? I have 1 hour. I'll give it one more try. One more try. And yeah, it's different elements every week for these 4 stages. This week it's Frost, which is probably where I can do the best. But getting in the top 3 is still difficult. This stage is pretty much just kill this solar chariot and then see if you can't beat that dragon really quick. And as usual, the dragon does not want to get beaten quick. Sadly, I did not remember what time I beat it on the first time when I got that high score. So I'm not sure what I need to beat. But I don't think that was all that great. Dragon not really strong, like he doesn't actually damage me, he's just very durable. Not very perilous, but just tanky. Well, nope. Well, it was a high score, but it just makes me feel even worse. 3 points of score. I'm sorry, viewers. For what I know, if Frozen Rosemary, if Rosemary's Floriograph is really the final chapter today, then it will probably take a while, so I shouldn't be doing this right now, but... What do I know? What do I know? I'm not known for being smart, making smart decisions. Switchy engine delightful. I think my time was 3:53 or something last time. Something in that direction. Stop flying, dragon. $3.53. This is not gonna help. I might have a plan. One last try. One last try. One last attempt. If this didn't do it, which I don't think it will. Never mind. Haha, Mr. Man of Culture. Who is using explicitly exactly the same team as I am. You see? No, he's using Chingwei's Wings instead of Book of Fuxi. So I do have the upper hand in that direction. Not gonna touch Stark though. Yeah, he's using this Blood Dance, which definitely puts him above me. Yeah, 2 Blood Dance users. Can't compete with those. Can I hold this position for 1 hour? Well, if Man of Culture does not return, probably. And that's the stream. No. Let's get into business. Last time on Rosemary's Floriograph. What new things did we learn? There was something about the catastrophe, apparently. Before the catastrophe, Saint Fountain used to have a church founded by Schicksal to take in orphans. How interesting. And Bronya stayed at the orphanage in the past, and therefore has a close relation with Joachim. Joachim used to be in charge of the orphanage. Dr. Tesla pointed out he had some weird habits when she first knew him. Hua! The ability to track footprints. Nothing much in my mind. Well, it can be very useful. Can also track owls, apparently. And I think we can remember that she can go invisible last time and almost glitch out the game because of that. Dr. Tesla's tech can restore a scene before it was sabotaged by Honkai energy, but there's a time limit. Honkai beasts are spotted in more places and causing greater damage. Chacal's target might be Mr. Choi's research findings. Rumor has it Chacal seems to have run tests on human subjects, like possibly Joey, the Phantom of Saint Freya. The mysterious phantom that ran into Dr. Tesla and Hua, the origin of Saint Fountain's horrible urban myth. Yes, we did encounter that as well and could not touch it. Joachim seems to have the intention to revive someone using the experiment data left by Mr. Joyce. Well, well, well. There's still a lot of notes to get, so maybe this is not the last time today. Let's see how much we have left on the map. Our start today is vacant. That could be the end. It would be it would be quite a lot of chapters, but who knows. Better get started, or we'll be here till tomorrow. Vacant. Inconspicuous things are more of clues rather than obstacles. The murder is like a red string intertwined with the uneventful entanglements and relations. Are we back to being Conan Doyle? And what I need to do is sort it out from the facts and expose it. Because last time we were in the shoes of Fuhua. Let's split into groups then. Moped and I can lead the repair group, Dr. Tesla suggested. After her encounter with the Phantom, she seemed more determined to prioritize fixing the security system. I don't think it's a good idea. Joy is in no condition to go anywhere. One of us has to stay here and take care of him. I'll go with you, Dr. Tesla. I've studied the basic theory of the... It'd be easier for you if you have an assistant around. Sounds good, but you're injured. Don't you need more rest? It was just a minor sprain. Don't worry. Don't push yourself too hard, Bronya. I can go with Dr. Tesla. It's okay, Sensei. Your research is mainly about biology. When it comes to engineering, I can be more helpful. You should go with them, Hua. Countless Honkai beasts are wandering in the safe zone. They'll need your protection. With you around, even if the Phantom comes again, you'll at least be able to help them escape. I was thinking the same thing. Miss Fuha has been very helpful. Fine with me. And about that Phantom, actually I had collected some data on it during my last encounter with it. Moped will try to analyze the data. Maybe we'll be able to find its weakness. Alright, now that the members of the repair group is decided, the rest can start searching the mansion now. Looks like Raven won't stop until the turn is placed until she turns this place upside down. Who would have thought? She really cares about that child. After Sora went missing, I resorted to some methods that I didn't want to use to investigate Raven's past. It turns out, after she retired, she adopted many orphans with the money she earned as a mercenary, and Sora was one of them. Orphans adopted by a former mercenary. Sounds juicy. All preparations are done. Bronya, Miss Fuhua, let's go. Be careful, Bronya. I will, Sensei. Take this transceiver. I've adapted it for more remote communications, even in areas with high Honkai energy concentrations. Dr. Tesla shoved a transceiver that looks just like a regular phone into my hand and hurried out. Bronya followed her out, who walked out too, after she gave me a nod. Let's begin the search then. The murderer might still be in this building, so try not to act alone at any time. Don't worry, Doctor. I won't let anything happen to you. ... Joffrey obediently walked up to Einstein and grabbed her sleeves, probably out of fear. Raven should have searched every corner of the basement and the first floor. Let's go to the second floor. Vacant. To restore the disabled pivot nodes, Tesla and others took a risk and went out. Waiting for them is a far greater menace. Tonight or never. It's time for some Irene Adler. Raven acted much faster than we expected. When we got upstairs, most of the rooms were wide open, including Dr. Tesla's and Dr. Einstein's. I handed her the master key. I could tell from her eyes that if I said no, it would get physically real fast. Sensing our doubt, Dr. Einstein shrugged with a bitter smile. But now it's crystal clear to me how much Sora means to Raven. Turning this room upside down tells me how panicked she is right now. I'm afraid there might be a slight misunderstanding about your observation, Doctor. This is Dr. Tesla's room, and the mess may have nothing to do with Raven. Dr. Einstein crouched down to pick up the scattered papers all over the floor and put them away in the drawer. Such an inappropriate remark for a lady's personal space. You surely are quite inconsiderate, Doctor. The woman beside me couldn't let any chance to mock me slip by. The taunt was relentless. We followed the corridor and found every room searched thoroughly and hastily. At the end of the corridor was the last room, where Well Choice took his last breath. As we walked in, we caught Raven smashing the wall with her bare fists. Damn it! It was only logical to assume no trace of Sora or her abductor was found here. Not knowing how to comfort her, I looked to the other two ladies in the room for help. But to my despair, both of them looked away, silently telling me to face the music. I let out a deep sigh before walking up and sticking myself before Raven. A gloating voice came from behind my back. Don't worry, I'll make sure you come out of this alive. Look for Sora in the room. We have returned to the murder scene. Mr. Choi's room was plainly furnished. This might be the only place someone could hide. It's highly possible for the murderer to return to the crime scene. It's nothing like the novels. We are stuck here. No new footprints on the windowsill. Of course, I was overthinking. What are you looking at? This room was not a good place to hide. It was evident that Grey Serpent and Sora were not here. Miss Raven seems to have a fit. Try not to provoke her further, Doctor. Come on, you know I'm terrible at this. So, maybe. But you still will have to do it. As the ladies are not want to be. Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! Raven kept hammering the wall, venting out her anger and frustration. Miss Raven. I walked to her and hesitated for a moment before calling her attention. As if startled by my presence, she suddenly turned around and grabbed me by the collar. It was you! You stopped me! There's nothing in here in this damned house. If it weren't for you... You spoke true. Yes, it was me, and Sora is not here. But I told you clearly that it was merely a possibility. And you chose to stay because you believed in this possibility. I understand how you feel now, but blind rage gets you nowhere. Realizing she was losing control, Raven's face went pale, and she slowly let go of my collar. I promised to cure her. I promised. If something should happen to her, taking her here would be the biggest mistake I've made. As if exhausted from the wall hammering, she slowly stepped back while muttering to herself. Seeing her finally calm down, I sighed in relief, but just then... Cure her? How would you do that? Is that how you convinced yourself to get into this inheritance fight? The moment I saw that little girl, I knew she was badly corrupted by Honkai energy. No way it was caused naturally. You think doing this will cleanse all your sins? Are you truly in this for her, or just for yourself? Stop it! The heart-rending situation seemed to be taking a toll on Dr. Einstein's nerves as well. Her sharp words cut deep into Raven's heart like a knife, and fueled her rage even more. Stop acting like you got nothing to do with this. Damn you scientists! Raven went ballistic in an instant. Watch out! Before I could alert Dr. Einstein, Raven had already got to her. Clang! Bang! Two sounds were heard at the same time, and the next instant everyone froze. Look for Dr. Einstein. Okay. Let's calmly walk over there while they are fighting, I guess. Damn you scientists! Miss Adler acted fast and blocked Raven's attack from the side. Meanwhile, to dodge Raven's attack, Dr. Einstein took a step back and fell upon the bookshelf behind her. Stay the hell out of my way! Sorry, I cannot abide. After all, Disir is one of the very few people I could see eye to eye with. Oh, what's this? I followed her eyes. It was a pile of paper notes, neatly stapled together. The color of the papers varied from top to bottom. The top looked yellowish from aging. As Miss Adler bent down to pick them up, I thought I saw a brief moment of hesitation on Dr. Einstein's face. This is... Oh, what a... Doctor, you have to see this. A lead coming from nowhere. Coming from nowhere? I chewed on her words as she handed them to me. I knew what she meant, but decided to play along for now. Investigation on the St. Fountain catastrophe, a well choice. I didn't even need to finish reading the title to know how important the notes were. Apparently they were written casually in first person and not intended for publishing. My eyes skimmed through the keywords quickly. The situation can hardly get any worse. I don't know who I can trust, maybe Tesla and Einstein only. At the beginning I only wanted to know the whereabouts of the two kids. The forbidden experiments had borne fruit, and someone has to answer for it. I feel obligated. I found one of them. Her physiology readings are stable, but I have to end all of this. It started with me, and has to end with me. This is destined to happen. I still can't find the other one. Church leaders are behind the experiments, and the lab data are all well protected. But somehow I found a lead, a broker supplying materials for the experiments. Materials. Seeing this word I wrote a month back makes me sick now. This broker is nothing but a human smuggler. To avert detention, these poor materials were transferred many times, but they all ended up in St. Fountain. Exclamation mark. If only all of this was just a nightmare. Flames devoured everything and leaked Honkai energy, turned innocent men into monsters. What have they done? It's been a week since the catastrophe, but the cause remains unknown. It has to be the Forsaken experiments. I adopted a girl in the orphanage that survived because she was transferred before it happened. I'm glad I did this. Every lead was burned to the ground, and I almost gave up, but now I've finally found something about the broker. He's the one who sourced orphaned children as lab rats for them to test on. He's going to lead me to the others involved, and eventually... Sigma 2. Oh no, another Sigma. No one knows his real name, but they all call him the Grey Serpent. This was the very last sentence, written with such force that the ink almost pierced through. I looked up and found Raven's eyes. Her pale face now looked eerily calm, a huge contrast with the hysteria before. Grey Serpent! So he had gone this far? Looks like a proper explanation is in order, Dr. Einstein. What is Sigma 2? Is that Sigma? Or is it Omega? Actually, I'm not sure now. No, it's not Sigma. Sigma is a Z. No, I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. It's an Omega. Omega 2. Omega 2, Fettsäuren. What was it that Mr. Joyce had been searching for all these years? This is supposed to be the top secret of Lab 42, Doctor. I can tell you, but not here and now. She eyed Raven while speaking. Yes, it was not the best occasion, or the best audience. Besides, finding Sora is our top priority at the moment. Indeed, now that it's established Grey Serpent isn't in the manor, we should all expand our search to the vicinity. Jorgen is running analysis on the phantom data in the lab, and Choice status requires me to stay close. That leaves the searching to me, Miss Adler, and... Conan Doyle, I'll have a word with you. As I was still baffled by her sudden calmness, she threw this at me and walked out abruptly. Well, well, looks like I've underestimated your charm, Doctor. Something told me the conversation wasn't going to be romantic in any remote manner. Let's have a romantic talk with Raven then. So, what can I do for you, Miss Raven? Raven glanced at the Miss Adler behind me and took a long pause before handing me something. I unfolded the paper handed over and found an address written on it. This is... The Roost, an orphanage facility. I found it. After this, I want you to find something reliable to run it for me. Someone reliable to run it for me. But why are you leaving it to someone else's care? If I can walk out of this alive, simply ignore what I just told you. Well then, why me? Because you're a detective, and with a fat check, anyone can be your client. I happen to have enough savings to interest you. You seem adamant in believing you'll meet your end here, and the reason is? I'm not sure if I'll die here, just planning for the worst. I still doubt if it was Grey Serpent that killed Jackal and took Sora. He doesn't have a motive. I know well-choiced notes are true, because I was there and I played a part in the experiments. Grey Serpent was sourcing suitable materials, and my job was to deliver them in one piece. The tests on human subjects were run by... Jackal, right? Right. Then Mr. Jorgen, who was managing the church back then, was also involved. What? How do you know about the church? It's simple. This many children in an insane fountain would have attracted a lot of eyes, but no one questions the church. And before it was turned into a manor, this church had quite a good name of caring for orphans from other places. You're right, the orphans were the materials. But Jorgen, he was kept in the dark all along until it happened. He seemed to really care about the kids. I see. Last question. You said you didn't believe Grey Serpent was the murderer, but why are you... Because I saw well-choiced notes. Obviously he had something on Grey Serpent. So Mr. Choice must die, of course. The failed tests most likely caused this disaster. Everyone involved was supposed to take the secret to their graves. But someone kept digging after killing Mr. Choice. Grey Serpent decided to tie up all loose ends for good. Exactly, and now my turn has come. Sora has nothing to do with all this. Grey Serpent took her only to get to me. So you're now prepared to face Grey Serpent yourself? It's the only way to save Sora. If I got killed, Sora, you... I could tell her in a struggle. She wasn't the type to beg for a favor. Don't do anything rash. We want Sora to be safe too. Let's work together to find Grey Serpent and her. Raven tried to say something, but she didn't. She turned around and walked to the elevator. To be safe, I didn't tell Dr. Einstein and Joachim what Raven said. I only briefed them instead. We then followed Raven out of the manor. Mr. Joachim, are you coming with us?
Yes, I want to make sure Bronya is okay.
Alright, the transceiver that Dr. Tesla gave us. Let's call them and see what they've found. But before I could turn on the transceiver, a wild roar came.
What? Honkai beasts are showing up this close to the mansion now.
Ah, annoying beasts. Let's get rid of them quick. Eh? Raven seemed to have noticed something unusual and dashed off in a flash. Don't act alone, Raven. What? These monsters came so fast. It's a good opportunity to show us the power of your Bartitsu moves, Doctor. Don't get me wrong. If something should happen to me around what we promised, blah 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 blah. It's a special skill to let Raven help swoop the enemies. This is quite the long stage with all the dialogue. Where's Raven? Over there. She's gone without a word. Phew, at long last. Where's Raven?
Oh, it's too chaotic. I think she left at some point.
Well, as long as we're all looking for Sora, I believe we'll run into each other again. She's a lone bird, so just let her be. The same buzz came up from everyone's comlink. Ah, it's from Frederica. We exchanged looks and pressed the answer button. We got a problem, Bronya. Bronya is a problem, apparently. At least there's a nice fountain. Well, it is Saint Fountain. So I'd hope at least the fountain is nice. Fragment number 2. Diary 1. Day, month, year. When I first saw Joffrey, I couldn't find a word to express my surprise. At last, the only thing that came out was, he's a dead ringer for him. A boring, objective description, but accurate. But today I was informed that he wasn't perfect and needed further modification. And if the modification failed, he'd have to be eliminated. There's no way for me to know in my current position what the modification would be. Perhaps it's because it's my first participation in a medical research project of this level. I had this feeling that if Joffrey is eliminated, my personal value would also be denied. So I applied to participate in the modification. The Institute has an affiliate orphanage that has taken in many ill children, who had been regularly visited by doctors, which would make a perfect cover-up place for the modification. Joffrey will be temporarily living there. And I have also been dispatched to the orphanage as a teacher and a supervisor. To me, this is a new task that is completely different from my previous colorless research. Diary 2. As a newcomer, Joffrey was unsurprisingly picked on by the older kids. To my surprise, Joffrey only resembled that man in appearance. He's so cowardly and timid, which makes me wonder if that's the reason why the Institute decided to modify him. Just when I was hesitating over how to intervene, a child named Bronya stood out and drove away the bullies. Oh, it was Bronya, and her little best friend, Seelie. Seelie is also a timid child, but she's such a sweet little girl. A few days later, I noticed that the three kids became inseparable. Another few days later, Seelie started to call Joffrey Joey, and soon everyone started to call him Dad. Things have been going well. I'll report this to the Institute. Diary 3. Nice weather today. I applied for permission to take the children on a field trip. Under Institute's monitoring, of course. Actually, the so-called field was just a small patch of land covered in grass and wildflowers near the orphanage. Celie made a flower wreath for me. When she put it on my head, and when I was enfolded by the children's chuckles, I felt I was treading on air. I kept forgetting who I am lately. I felt like I was always being their sensei from the very beginning. But the frequent modifications, publicly claimed to be special treatment to Joy, kept reminding me. Everything I do and experience here is just part of my task. Diary 4. After today's treatment, I found Joy's body turned into insubstantial for a short period. What have I done to him? I couldn't restrain my anger. I confronted Chakal about this. She said the modification and debugging have ended. And now is the testing phase. Modification, debugging, testing. I just realized that we have been using these cold words on a little boy. Chakal reminded me again to remain objective and calm as a researcher, but I think she was just warning me not to go against the Institute. After I sent Joey back, Bronya came in the evening and told me she wanted to talk to me tomorrow. She's always been an unemotional and reserved child, but I can read some of her emotions after all this time. It was fury. Her eyes were blazing with fury. Diary 5. Bronya fell from the stairs and was sent to the hospital. She is still in a coma, but the doctors say she is fine and will wake up soon. I didn't tell Celie and Joey about this. I told them Bronya didn't feel well and needed to be hospitalized for a few days. Because I don't want to alarm them, and I somehow feel this whole thing is suspicious. I think Bronya was trying to talk to me about Joy. I think she found out there was something unusual going on. I don't think she has talked to anyone other than me about it. She came to me just last night, which means someone else is watching us. Someone pushed Bronya. Damn it. Diary 6. We secretly took some medicine to test the ingredients and found out that most of them didn't match the records at all. Vitamin C tablets, starch capsules, glucose solutions. Some of the medicine are just placebos. The Institute hasn't been giving treatment to all the ill children. They just let some children's health deteriorate. What frightened me even more was that I figured out the intention in an instant. Some of the experiments were designed to collect data on the disease's development without treatment. Some were designed to find out what differences the treatment would make. Some were designed to test the effects of placebos in follow-up treatment. The whole thing was a pack of lies. At this place, those children are subjects, materials, data. Everything, but not patients, not humans being who fell ill. And Joey, a seriously ill boy, was probably the only healthy child here. But now he has been modified into a patient for the experiment. And I still haven't figured out what the experiment is about. Well. Shady things have been happening in the past. Now let's reboot. Let's reboot with Bronya and Fuhua. Complex operations. Shortens cooldown of main effects to get by the whole team's ultimate evasion and perfect defense. Okay. Guess you're better. We get to play with Black Nucleus Bronya some more. I am surprised. Phew. First node rebooted. Bronya, Miss Fuhua, let's go straight to the next. Miss Bronya, Dr. Tesla is talking to you. I'm sorry, Dr. Tesla. What did you just say? Is everything okay? I was just wondering Why the cut on this note looks familiar. Familiar? Yes, I'm very interested in mechanical engineering, especially the development of weapon systems. This cut doesn't look like it was caused by Honkai beasts, but it looks like a scythe, maybe? Firearms? Damage caused by firearms? I think so too. State-of-the-art models, to be precise. This is weird. We gotta be more careful from now on. If my conjecture is unfortunately correct, then we are in big trouble. Oh, it might be the Valkyrie troop that was sent out and went missing. That's the pivot node on the security. It's badly damaged, but not beyond repair.
Yes, Master.
That's it, the second pivot node. Let me check. Oh, they sure know how to damage it, but it doesn't matter. I still can fix it. Bronya, prepare replacement parts. Okay, Dr. Tesla. Howl. These damn Honkai beasts again. Ah, the timing is just perfect. Dr. Tesla, please focus on the repair. I'll handle them. To speed it up, I'll have to pull up something special. Eins, it's your turn to shine. Eins surface cannot keep Honkai beasts away from the repair area. I did not. Fuhua? Repairs are complete. Friends. Use the security system to wipe out Honkai beasts. Second node rebooted. Well done, Dr. Tesla. But the cut on this node also looks... I can only think of one organization with this kind of superior weaponry in St. Fountain. But what on earth happened here? We'd better go fixing the last node as soon as possible, Dr. Tesla. I agree. Let's go. Gotta get that security system back up. Excellent. Reboot the boot. The boot. The last node is right over there. It seems we are lucky this time. No annoying Honkai beasts anymore. Wait. What's wrong, Miss Fuhua? My intuition tells me something isn't right. You are saying? After the security system failed, we have encountered swarms of Honkai beasts. But this area is unbelievably clear, which I don't consider to be normal. But we have to fix the last node to reboot the security system. Even if this area is dangerous, we still have to go across it. I'll go have a look first. You stay here, Dr. Tesla. I agree with Miss Fuhr. You're the key to restoring the security system. If anything happened to you, even if Miss Fuhr and I could make it to the last node, it'd be all pointless. If both of you think so, if both of you think I should stay here, Miss Fuhr, I'll go with you. Are you able to protect yourself? Yes, don't underestimate me. Keep going, and the next maintenance point is just around the corner. The readings are abnormal. You were right. Something is wrong here.
Hostiles detected.
This is the prototype Sentinel system equipped by the... Paralyze the Sentinel with lightning attacks and retrieve its data core. Maybe it can give us some clues as to blah 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 blah. The squad. Disable the defense module with paralyzing attacks or brute force. Let's try to paralyze it. Like this. Yeah. Target disabled. Retrieving data core now. Beside the core there's a device flashing red light. It's a flash bomb. We are Fuhr, Bonnie, what happened? It's a trap. We're in trouble. Oh, look at that. It's the missing Valkyries. With a big hammer. I think the hammer is a new enemy, and this robot was a new enemy in this version of the game, and so is the hammer, I think. Hammer time! Interlude. Briefing turns out to be quite an effort. Hey Raven, you shouldn't have gone off alone, I feel. Might have not been your best idea. People tend to ignore common things, but when there is a gash in the throat, briefing, which is the most common action, becomes a luxury. She pressed her fingers against the gash, trying to stop the bleeding, which proved futile. Her hand feebly dropped down. The agony of suffocation even exceeded the pain of the wound. She struggled to turn her head to look at the body on the ground near her in the heavy rain. He was the reason why she ended up like this. Violence had been with her since childhood. Accomplishing missions used to be the only theme of her life. At least that child can go on a different life path. This thought used to be her strength of will. But now, light footsteps softly approached. Someone was writing something beside her with the blood that was gushing from her wound. Why? She asked soundlessly. She could no longer make any noise. Why? The writer did not stop, but responded with a peculiar smile. Her pale lips slowly closed. Warm teardrops fell down her cold cheeks. Raven cries came from afar. It's all connected. Let's talk. Dr. Tesla. Expert Snoop. Good nickname. Great. Huh. What an ingenious nickname. Hey Irene, I'm with you on that. Expert Snoop.
What happened, Tesla? You said Bronya. What happened to her?
Calm down, she's fine, at least for now.
For now?
Dr. Tesla, please be straightforward in this kind of emergency. And let Bronya speak to you herself. Eins, connect Bronya. Doctor, Miss Adler. In a word, Miss Fuhrer and I encountered unknown enemies and fell in their ambush. Miss Fuhrer is resisting the enemies. Though they cannot severely hurt us for now, we are indeed outnumbered.
Ambush?
As the intelligence of Honkai beasts evolved to this level. I'm afraid it's not Honkai beasts. While Miss Bronya was talking, there were faint sounds of gunshots and explosions. Honkai beasts do not use firearms.
Then what is happening?
Is it the missing Valkyrie squad? Yes, it's that Valkyrie squad that lost contact in the mission of hunting the Phantom. Though we don't know why, the hostility towards you two alone justifies our counterattack. But if it's possible, please don't take their lives. Dr. Tesla, they are well equipped. We're in no place to pull our punches. Don't worry, leave that to me. I happen to know a few tricks that can manipulate people's minds. I can paralyze them without hurting them. I guess I'll have to trouble you to join the fight, Miss Adler. I have a plan. Time is against us. Tell me about it on the way. It's quiet. Too quiet. I'm in position, Miss Psychic. Copy. I'll leave the timing to you, Miss Adler. Signal me, and I'll suppress the enemies with flesh bomb.
This way the enemies will eat their own medicine.
Well, I can't move, so I can just give the signal, I guess.
Copy. Firing flash bombs, now. Copy. Firing flash bombs now.
Well, it sure doesn't look like you're just knocking them out, but I'll believe you. That was nice with Bronya in the cutscene for the ultimate. Just standing there in the corner. Threat neutralized, but the heat signature of a human. Look, over here, many dead Valkyries. There's someone over there. Seems to be... approached person. That seems like Sora. Doctor, look! These are dead Valkyries. I think I once saw the weapon that killed them. It's Raven. I fought her once. It cannot be mistaken. Seems like she has clashed with the Valkyrie squad here. She didn't treat them too kindly. Wait, I think I saw someone. That's Sora. She looks weird. Let's go and check her out. Be careful. Grey Serpent could be lurking somewhere. But after we got to the corner, the horrible view before our eyes was beyond words. Rache, once again. This is... In a deep shock, Sora was curled up near the wall and trembling all over. In the direction she faced, we found Raven's cold body. The woman I talked to moments ago was now sitting against the wall, bathed in blood. All life was gone from her eyes. Raven is dead too. There's something written on the wall. On the wall Raven leaned against, we saw the scarlet word, Rache, written in fresh blood. Not again! Revenge. Eh? It wasn't until then I noticed something else lying at her feet. Another body. Everyone else soon caught up to it. That's Grey Serpent! None of us could believe our own eyes. Grey Serpent was killed too. Raven and him did this to each other. I went down to check Raven's body and found a fatal knife wound on her neck, cutting her artery wide open. I then checked Grey Serpent and found a similar neck wound, but somehow there was another puncture wound on his back. Why? I fell into a long silence, one that was shared by everyone else. I looked to the only eyewitness. Jorgen and Bronya had helped her up. She was in a trance, and her face was devoid of any motion. Sora, can you hear me? Sora made no response, as if she was a soulless puppet. Raindrops kept hitting her eyes, but she didn't even blink. Sadness happened. I slowly soaked my body in hot water. Ah, so refreshing. Then I heard the sound of a long exhalation coming from the transceiver. Tired already? This is not like you, Mr. Detective. The Mr. Detective I know always conducts himself with grace, no matter what difficulties he faces. I'm sorry, Miss Reader, but fiction and reality are actually two different things. Anyway, do we really have to talk through this thing? Several hours have passed since Raven and Grey Serpent's bodies were found. After we managed to carry the two bodies back, everyone got drenched to the skin. Sora is still in a state of stupor. Dr. Einstein put her in a room to rest. It's late at night, we are all exhausted, anxious, and uncomfortably wet. Before planning the next move, what everyone needs is a hot bath. But before that, I have something to do. I found Dr. Doyle, who is lost in a thought alone, in the hall. Do you have a minute, Doctor? What can I do for you, Miss Adler? I'd like to talk to you in private, but not in here. I dangled a small, delicate device before his eyes. Dr. Tesla's transceiver, I see. As private as possible. Well then, talk to you later. I left a meaningful smile and turned to my room. The bathtub is filled with hot water. I tried the temperature, slipped out of my bathrobe, and slowly sank into the bathtub. After a transitory enjoyment of this small, warm paradise, I turned on my transceiver. I casually splashed water in the bathtub. The gentleman on the other end of the line didn't make me wait long. Are you taking a bath, Miss Adler? I answered this question with a steamy chuckle, and we started to talk in this unusual atmosphere. All right, what do you want to talk, Miss Adler? I'd like to hear your opinion on this case. You must have discovered some clues. Talking about thoughts with others makes it easier to sort them out, isn't it? There was a short silence. Ah, You must be debating whether or not to lay the cards he holds on the table. I thought so with a smirk. I'm not asking to hear your opinion for free, Mr. Detective. My conjectures may help you too. This is a fair exchange. Alright then. Regarding this murder, my biggest question is the murderer really among us? The reason why you have this question is because of Grey Serpent, isn't it? Yes. According to Raven, Grey Serpent knew he was found out by Mr. Joyce, that he had been involved in the human experiments conducted in St. Fountain before the cataclysm, so he killed him to seal his lips. Jackal and Raven were also part of this, so Grey Serpent got rid of them too, to spare himself any future troubles. The logic behind this assumption seems flawless in terms of whodunit. Not whodunit, whodunit. But if you put more careful thoughts into it, you will find the paradox. The word written with blood. Correct. Rache, revenge. This word appeared at both of the crime scenes. If it wasn't a message left by the victims, then it must be written by the murderer out of some kind of rituality. The situations of the crime scene obviously agree with the later assumptions. Yes, the murderer has been declaring his or her motive to all of us by leaving that scarlet word. If Grey Serpent was the murderer, then Rache would make no sense. I see you have completely crossed Grey Serpent off. Can't say that for sure now, but at least the two murders defy the hypothesis of Grey Serpent being the murderer. What's more, according to the scene of Grey Serpent and Raven's death, neither of them could have written that word on the wall, no matter who died first. I think you're right. If there was no word written on the wall, I would have assumed that they both died after the fierce fight. It's obvious that the murderer never intended to hide. He or she left the word to flaunt the progress of his or her revenge. Leave aside the motive. There's something unusual about the wound on Grey Serpent's back. I've checked it. It's a fatal heart injury. There's no way he could lurk around for days and fight a former mercenary to death. I'm surprised that he could even move. A degree of decomposition suggests that he has been deaf for several days. A dead man had been walking around and committing murders. This just became a ghost story. Trust me, Irene, I know corpses very well. And that's why I started to wonder if I should still treat this case as a normal serial murder. If logic is no longer with us, I don't know how I should continue my deduction. I slightly adjust my posture in the bathtub, and the water rippled. You certainly wouldn't believe what I just said. But I believe, when you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. What if we look at it from a different angle? Revenge. Who would hate those victims this much? My guess is silly. Then we must look at the common experiences of the victims. A few hours ago, we just heard of a past that involved Jackal, Grey Serpent, and Raven. Human experiments and orphans, and the cause of the cataclysm. They were all guilty of these, directly or indirectly. Let's assume for a moment that there's someone who lost everything in the cataclysm, but somehow survived. Then this person would both be the victim and the witness of the tragedy, who knows everything about it. Bronya, that child has a motive to seek revenge on them. Wait a second, I remember Jackal and Raven were invited by Jorgen to help Bronja get her bequeathment. But what if the legacy is just a bait from the very beginning? Huh. So Jackal coveted Mr. Choi's research data, while Raven was trying to find cures for Sora. And what Grey Serpent wanted was Jackal's and Raven's lives. I see. It was a remarkably efficient bait. I paused for a moment and gave a sudden chuckle. Sounds logical, but you missed one thing, Mr. Detective. Joachim and Bronja both had perfect alibis. They were with us when the murders happened. Yes, how done it? This is what has been baffling me. My intuition tells me there's a paranormal involvement in this case, which all my learning has been forcing my brain to ignore. I guess the legendary Holmes is just a fictional character after all. I see my deduction didn't score highly, Irene. I stood up from the water without making any remarks. The bubbles in my bathtub are running out. I have to go. But cheer up, Doctor. I think you are getting closer to the truth. Fragment number 4. One morning, Joffrey woke up and found himself turned into a giant beetle. Imagine that. In the mirror, he saw his cyan body, hard, elytra, and 6 legs. Elytra? Joffrey, get dressed and come down for breakfast, he heard someone calling him. It was not Bronja or Seely. It was one of the doctors. Joffrey remembered. He didn't go back to the orphanage last night, but was taken to the observation ward. He awkwardly dragged his 6 legs to run downstairs, but lost balance and rolled down the stairs instead. Joffrey walked into the cafeteria. There were many doctors walking around, but no one cast a look at him. Breakfast was fried sausages and orange juice. The sausages were crispy with cheese inside, but tasted like medicine to Joffrey. Is it because I'm a beetle now? Joffrey looked at the sausages and his plate in confusion. He missed the beef patties seasoned with rosemary that Bronja used to make. She grew the rosemary herself. Bronja's beef patties never taste like medicine. Joffrey thought so, smacking his lips. The doctors were still walking around. Joffrey raised his hand. Excuse me, but I think I turned into a beetle. One of the doctors came to him. It was the lady with long black hair. Beetles don't eat sausages, said the doctor. After breakfast, Sensei came to pick Joffrey up. In the car, Joffrey asked him, Do you think I look like a beetle, Sensei? What are you talking about, silly? Sensei responded, without even looking back. Joffrey looked at himself in the car window. He was still a beetle. Why couldn't they see? Can I be a doctor as a beetle? Joffrey hesitated for a moment and asked again. Sensei cast a glance at him in the rearview mirror and said, Did you have a nightmare? I'll adjust your dosage. We can talk about the beetle thing when we get back. Joffrey snuck in through the back door and went upstairs with his 6 legs, which was easier than going downstairs. He knocked on the door of Seely's room with one of his 6 legs. Seely, it's me, Joffrey. The door opened a crack. Seely craned out and burst into tears the instant she saw him. What have they done to you? Seely can see my changes. Joffrey was happy and upset at the same time. What should I do? I'm a beetle now, but no one seems to notice. I've always been a beetle that no one cares about. I care about you, Joffrey. So does Bronya. We both care about you very much. You're important to us, said Seely. Then, can I still be a human? I'll figure out how to turn you back, Shoei. Trust me. Seeing Seely's tears streaming down her face, Joffrey felt sad. Seely stood on tiptoe and stroked his giant head. I'll figure it out. There must be a way to turn you back. Joffrey became taller than Seely after he turned into a beetle. He had always wished to grow taller, so that he'd be able to protect his two big sisters. So maybe turning into a beetle wasn't so bad, though he still preferred to be a human boy. Go get some sleep. Maybe you'll feel better later. Joffrey nodded obediently and went back to his own room. When Joffrey woke up again, he found that he was no longer a beetle. He cheerfully got off bed, put on his little shirt that Seely mended for him, and his favorite grey pants. That's right, I'm Joffrey, a human boy, not a beetle. He opened the door and saw the doctor with long black hair and Sensei. They looked stunned when they saw him. Joffrey didn't understand why they were so shocked. He started to run, faster and faster. He didn't know why he could run so fast, as if he still had the 6 legs. He just wanted to see Seely and tell her. Joffrey is no longer a beetle. Well, that was weird. Beetles are beetles. And there is still one more waiting before we can end this. That was so weird. Just Kafka. What does Kafka have to do with this? I'm curious where the connection is. Wrong. Where am I? Are there any beetles here? That's birds. That's like roses in a castle. And that's more birds. Sadly, no beetles here. But I'll believe you that one of his most famous books is about a man turning into a beetle. It rings somewhat of a bell. Sleeping. Sleeping sounds like an idea. Project Bunny also has the correct idea. Do I have finished all missions for today? Not quite. Not quite. Today is Sunday. Let's do a gold rumble stage.
Gold rumble.
Coin training. Rave, homo.
Homo King, curse the random Valkyrie. The curse spreads to the team members. Well, that was coin panic, or whatever it's called. Not like I need coins, but is this enough to finish the daily missions? Yes! Apparently you have so many texts, different texts about you wanting to finally go to sleep. I think I'll let you. Let's end this stream before she gets mad at me. Thanks for watching. We will be back in a few days to actually finish off Rosemary's Floriograph. Ah, just checking. No, still in our third place. Good, very good. Goodbye. Until next time.